So let's just pick back.
Congratulations on this show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic, both of you, really.
You. Oh, bless you. Bless you. You know, sometimes, Kate, there's almost like, what's the purpose? And there's always a purpose, I think, when it's community-led.
Of course.
We lost that during the pandemic, where people were worried about, can they eat? Are we ever going to work again? Will I make it till tomorrow? You know, just so many emotions. Everyone just sort of, I don't know about you, but I ran for cover. I shut off from social media because since the age of 24, I'm 36 now, everything's been so public. Talking
of course.
Every day, connecting every day, selling something, doing. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, I'm actually going to take this time out
and reflect. Of course. I tell you one thing it did do, that the whole kind of COVID and that whole 2 years of people taking stock is, on one level, what we do, as in what your program's about, which is about film and moving image, for example, or artists.
That's right.
Is the one thing that did come out of it is, without us, okay, so we're not saving lives, but without us, I tell you, the world would have been a horrible place. Without a TV program, without a film to watch, without a book to read, without a CD or radio to listen to. Some people were lonely.
Wow.
And this is the whole thing of going, okay, I can either escape into a world of a film, or I can listen to a radio station and not feel so isolated. So this is when it gave us credence for the first time.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't a whole thing of going, all right, so you're an actor, so that means you've been in EastEnders, or that's the only storytelling we've got. No, it actually gave us a moment of going, all right, I give you guys props. And I tell you why, because you've saved lives in emotional lives, not physical lives, emotional lives. Some people were lonely and some people were depressed.
Oh, massively. It was, you know, it was isolating. You couldn't see your own family, you know, and some people took that to the nth degree to stay safe.
Yeah.
You're right. What we all had collectively, globally, was a mobile phone, a laptop, a computer. Most of us have got smart TVs. So you're right, we're tuning into the streamers. We're really catching up on our soaps that we ain't seen for years.
Yeah.
On YouTube and learning how to meditate or pray, or you know what I mean. So we're getting that education, and therefore, yes, we are getting camaraderie, companionship. You know, we're having a different kind of language and discussion. That's like, oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So is that what the kind of 2 year gave you?
Well, there was so much went on. You know, I was amazed at, I mean, I try and find a positive spin on everything. And one of the things that frightened me in all that isolation were things like, okay, so we are, I mean, it was extraordinary. It felt like a film, this kind of dystopian universe where a virus is attacking the world. I mean, there was that weird, bizarre thing. But seeing photos, for example, of Venice canals clean, or beaches that hadn't been destroyed and messed up. Yeah. And then, of course, there was the whole Black Lives Matter. If this was in another time, I mean, it's really horrible what happened. If this was in another time, I don't think people would have had the space or time. Because we all know that this went on. Firstly, we've got cameras, phone cameras. So there you go. There it is in black and white. Yeah, moving image. But the fact that people had a moment to take stock, think about it. You know, my reaction to all that, for example, is firstly, I felt gaslit. So there was a moment where I went, how long? Many years I've had, are you sure you're not overreacting, Karen? Are you sure it's about that? Are you sure? Look. So there was a moment with all of the negative that came out of it, out of that whole COVID period, there were many things that we needed to stop still and think about.
100%.
And we have the opportunity to do so.
That's it. It was so confrontational and so stark. And like you say, because we had nowhere to run, there wasn't another job, another event. Well, there was people working. We were working over the pandemic. But in the sense where that mass distraction that we have now that we're sort of post-pandemic and we're all jumping back on our own little treadmills, maybe doing things slightly different because now we are more woken as a whole globe. But I think you're absolutely right. There was nowhere to run. That 9-minute video, that
disgusting.
I don't think I've ever watched it for the full 9 because I couldn't, I'm too sensitive. You know me, I'm a Cancerian, you're Pisces. We're watching them type of videos about busting tears because we
horrible.
Do you know what I mean? So and it just really made me feel, because Karen, my daughter just turned 1, Lavender, right?
So you've got a daughter?
Karen, I've got 2 babies.
Oh my God, wow.
This is what I'm saying, how I was like, Kay doesn't even know.
No, congratulations, how cute.
Thank you. So Lavender turned 1 a month before we went into lockdown.
Wow.
Lockdown happened, 3 months in, I get pregnant with my second daughter, Eden, whose birthday was this weekend. And in that time we have Black Lives Matter, and I think it does make all the difference, no disrespect to you or anybody else, when you have children or you're in a caregiving situation, where I'm imagining Emmanuel never been in that position, but imagine, because that man left behind a child. And you just think, Jesus Christ. I don't even think people understand that when he goes out and puts the rubbish out, and he likes to do it sometimes at midnight, I say, leave it to the morning.
Yeah.
And he never asked me why, but I told him one day, very soon after that. And I said, you know what? Because nighttime people move mad. And that happened during the day, but I said to him, nighttime people, every time you leave the house, I just don't feel right.
I know.
It threw me, because first time, really, I was like, we just saw a Black man die for nothing.
In front of our very eyes.
In front of our very eyes. And the thing is, if we didn't have the footage, and talk to me on this, Kay, because this show is about talk. So we have been trained and conditioned to ask, what did he do?
It's terrible.
We did not see that footage.
Yeah.
We're asking, maybe he did steal them.
This is what's disgusting.
The $20 fake note. Because and we will all make excuses somehow, some way, until it happens to you.
Yeah, it's just terrific. Because like I was saying, one of the things that I felt, apart from being absolutely floored, is there was a sense in my mind of slight vindication. So in George Floyd's name, this is not in vain, and we cannot let his murder be in vain. We need to take steps and move forward. This cannot be a movement for a moment. So throughout my growing up, throughout my life, I have had instances of microaggressions right the way through to blatant in-my-face racism, whether it's at work or whether I was a kid, whether it's at school or the schooling system, which we can go on to child Q a bit later. But I've had instances where I could mention it at the time, to the point where there was a period in my life when I'd shut my mouth, and it was about learn to pick my battles. And that's one of the greatest things I learned probably in my 20s. I can't be angry at everything. But what I felt as a result of what happened with this whole Black Lives Matter was there was a vindication. We were gaslit. How many times have you had, Claire? Are you sure, Claire, that was, based on race? Are you you're not overreacting, are you? And we question, because of those questions to us, when we've spotted something, it comes over as the whole thing of, oh, maybe it was me, or maybe I'm overreacting, or maybe I'm. So I felt
maybe I'm negative.
I was trying to say
maybe I default to if I don't get my own way, then it's because I was Black.
Yeah.
Like, no. No, you don't understand how much I don't want to talk about my race at this moment.
Yeah.
Truth is the truth. What can I do?
Yeah.
I know that this is happening to me right now. You're asking me that kind of question because I'm Black or I'm brown.
Yeah.
You know? That's the truth.
That is the truth.
That's it. What? Yeah. And that leads me beautifully onto Monochromatic.
Bless.
Right. So I heard Because Emmanuel said you'd reached out.
Yes, I did.
Months ago now. So time is
end of last year. We actually shot it.
To see, yeah, because I go on IMDb Pro for my news about our industry, and I saw that it's in post-production.
Yeah. And weirdly, speaking of that, it was
writing.
Sorry?
Writer-director.
Yes. Absolutely. And not only that, it was, speaking of segues, it was born out of my frustration. I didn't know where to put it. And one of the things I got thinking about, because I wrote something many, many moons ago in a particular way, and this came up, and it came up because somebody wanted to talk to me about something else I'd written. And I said, I don't really want to touch that yet. It's not where I want it to be, but I've got another idea, blah, 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 blah. Then it took the producer and I to start talking. I sent her a synopsis of my ideas and did a whole load of research, because actually in the 70s, I was a very young child, and this is set in 1977.
Wow.
So I looked back at all of my sort of growing up pictures and whatnot, and what I slightly remember of it. And my point is I wanted to evaluate how much had changed. Wow. I also wanted to evaluate the moment that I realized I was Black, and that my Blackness is a problem. And Claire, I did some research before with my Black mates. Every one of us have got a story, whether it's our parents made us understand slowly or it was a thing. But if you think about the way we're born and how we hang out and do what we're doing, we are children, we're kids. We have no idea or concept. Right. All of that stuff happens because life hits you and the people around you inform that. Nature does not make anybody predisposed to being a racist.
No, I tell you that for free, because I drop my kids off to nursery every day, and it's only now with the crayons. Yeah. Now starting to say we're brown.
Yeah. Yes.
Years old.
Yes.
I've never told her that she was brown. I just tell her princess, beautiful, smart, intelligent, affirmations, right? I don't mention her race, because then we're going to need to lead on to your light, your dark.
And that is where the film, so what it is basically a little girl growing up in the 70s. And it's basically about the moment she realizes she's got a little best mate, Wendy. She's 6 years old. She's always had the affirmations from her mum that she's amazing, and she's beautiful, going about her business, but a series of things where her mother was trying to protect her, because back in the 70s, one could argue it was a lot more blatant. On every wall, I can remember asking my mum, what's NF? And her I don't remember an explanation about it. I remember her trying to say something and then swiftly moving on. But the parallels I'm kind of making is I found a load of photographs from my research of walls just in London with the most obscene scriptures, which now we have Twitter for the haters, but I mean, obscenities.
The new wall.
N-words out, go home, you name it, sprayed or painted on walls. It was like decoration. And the parallels I was trying to make is, okay, so how much have we actually moved on, really? We say microaggressions, is it less blatant? Sometimes, maybe, yeah.
What's going on politically? Remember when our three lads in the World Cup?
Hello.
15 Black people were stabbed that night in East London alone.
There you go. So the point is from a child's perspective, that's one thing you can't deny. And the way I've shot it, or the way I wrote it, is specifically through her POV.
Nice.
So you only see little Grace in reflections, which is quite 70s anyway. Because I think it's important you see her face and then let the rest, your imagination, take you until you see her reflection again until the end. Because you can't deny there's something about when you put a child in a situation, not that I was doing it to be manipulative, that was just, I was brought back to the 70s growing up when I was reflecting during the the whole Black Lives Matter. I mean, I was floored, Claire, seeing the likes of John Boyega crying big tears, seeing a united front, seeing allies, seeing people taking the knees all over the UK. And one of the things that's important is we've always had allies, but it just can't be for a moment. This has got, I mean, it's always been that way, but have we moved on? Yeah.
Yes.
So there's an interesting thing. So it's set in sort of Wood Green area. Here's the thing. So in 1977, on St. George's Day, in Wood Green, there was Wood Green High Street, there was the penultimate National Front march. Now, there was a protest, they knew it was coming, and the councillor of Haringey at the time was a young Jeremy Corbyn. And he said to the police, can you stop this march? And they said, no, they've got a right to march. I've got photographs of Jeremy Corbyn with police guarding the National Front guys, blatant, on Wood Green High Street with them flags, doing all that. What he'd done is he got locals, young TUC, the burgeoning Anti-Nazi League, which I think there was about 5 of them at that point. He got locals, this area has always been diverse. So local shop owners, the young Black community, young Turkish, young Greek community, to get rotten fruit, flour. He taught students in Duckett's Corner, they were practicing smoke bombs in Duckett's Corner before the march, because what they did is 3,000 strong allies, I don't want to cry, came out and stopped that march, disrupted that march. Wow. Disrupted it. And only a few of them ended up further up on Palmer's Green, but literally they were going to do the whole thing. They were disrupted by 3,000 strong going, get out, we don't want you, Nazis out. What then happened was there was one more in Lewisham, and that was the last time, and the NF lost their stronghold politically in London. In fact, they dissipated and became BNP and other factions, but they were getting somewhere. It was a very scary time in sort of 76, 77, as they were creeping their way into London areas.
This hour of the Screen Lately show on Choice FM UK is brought to you by everydayofthewig.com. Go online for choices galore and more.